So I'm gonna try to finish up chapter 3 in the Richest Man in Babylon. Um, so if you had watched the first part of chapter 3, you'd know that it's 7 cures for a lean purse. And I read the intro and then the first 2 cures, and to start off with the third cure and see how far I get into this. So if you end up um, having some thoughts on this, feel free to leave a comment down below, and if you end up liking the video, hit the like button to let me know to keep making videos like this. So let's start with the third cure. Make thy gold multiply. Beyond thy lean purse is fattening. Thou hast disciplined thyself to leave therein 1/10 of all thou earnest. Thou hast controlled thy expenditures to protect thy growing treasure. Next, we will consider means to put thy treasure to labor and to increase. Gold in a purse is gratifying to own and satisfieth a misery soul, but earns nothing. The gold we may retain from our earnings is but the start. The earning it will make shall build our fortunes. So spoke Arcad upon the third day to his class. How therefore may we put our gold to work? My first investment was unfortunate, for I lost all. It's a tale I will relate later. My first profitable investment was a loan I made to a man named Agar, a shield maker. Once each year did he buy large shipments of bronze brought from across the sea to use in his trade. Lacking sufficient capital to pay the merchants, he would borrow from those who had extra coins. He was an honorable man. His borrowing he would repay, together with a liberal rental, as he sold his shields. Each time I loaned to him, I loaned back also the rental he had paid to me. Therefore, not only did my capital increase, but its earnings likewise increased. Most gratifying was it to have these sums returned to my purse. I tell you, my students, a man's wealth is not in the coins he carries in his purse, it is in the income he buildeth. The golden stream that continuously floweth into his purse and keepeth it away always bulging. That is what every man desireth. That is what thou each one of thee desireth, an income that continueth to come, whether thou work or travel. Great income I have acquired, so great that I am called a very rich man. My loan to Agar were my first training in profitable investment. Gaining wisdom from this experience, I extended my loan and investments as my capital increased. From a few sources at first, from many sources later flowed into my purse a golden stream of wealth available for such wise use as I should decide. Behold, from my humble earning I had begun a horde of golden slaves, each laboring and earning more gold. As they labored for me, so their children also labored, and their children's children, until great was the income from their combined efforts. Gold increaseth rapidly when making reasonable earnings, as thou wilt see from the following. A farmer, when his first son was born, took 10 pieces of silver to a money lender and asked him to keep it on rental for his son until he became 20 years of age. This the money lender did and agreed the rental should be 1/4 of its value each 4 years. The farmer asked because this sum he had set aside as belonging to his son that the rental be added to the principal. When the boy had reached the age of 20 years, the farmer again went to the moneylender to inquire about the silver. The moneylender explained that because the sum had been increased by compound interest, the original 10 pieces of silver had now grown to 30 and 1/2 pieces. The farmer was pleased, and because the son did not need the coins, he left them with the money lender. When the son became 50 years of age, the father, meantime having passed to the other world, the money lender paid the son in settlement 167 pieces of silver. Thus, in 50 years, had the investment multiplied itself at rental almost 17 times. This, then, is the third cure for a lean purse: to put each coin to laboring that it may reproduce its kind, even as the flock of the field, and help bring to the income a stream of wealth that shall flow constantly into thy purse. So the third cure kind of dances around calling it passive income, but that's more or less what we would call it nowadays. It's taking money and having it work for you to multiply, whether you're investing in maybe stocks or real estate or I really don't know much about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but I know some people seem interested in that in the hopes of buying cheap to sell at a higher rate to make some kind of a profit. The fourth cure: guard thy treasure from loss. Misfortune loves a shining mark. Gold in a man's purse must be guarded with firmness, else it be lost. Thus it is wise that we must first secure small amounts and learn to protect them before the gods entrust us with larger. So spoke Arcad upon the fourth day to his class. Every owner of gold is tempted by opportunities whereby it would seem that he could make large sums by its investment in most plausible projects. Often friends and relatives are eagerly entering such investments and urge him to follow. The first sound principle of investment is security for thy principal. Is it wise to be intrigued by larger earnings when thy principal may be lost? I say not. The penalty of risk is probable loss. Study carefully before parting with thy treasure, each assurance that it may be safely reclaimed. Be not misled by thine own romantic desire to make wealth rapidly. So you have to think logically and not emotionally, and you have to, study what you're potentially investing your money in, or you could lose your money. And Grant Cardone talks about, what Warren Buffett says, how, you don't want to lose your money. So, if you don't do your research, you'll probably lose your money and then you have to go make more. So, do your research. Before thou loan it to any man, assure thyself of his ability to repay and his reputation for doing so, that thou mayest not unwittingly be making him a present of thy hard-earned treasure. Before thou entrust it as an investment in any field, acquaint thyself with the dangers which may beset it. My own first investment was a tragedy to me at the time. The guarded saving of a year I did entrust to a brickmaker named Asmer, who was traveling over the far seas and in Tyre agreed to buy for me the rare jewels of the Phoenicians. These we would sell upon his return and divide the profits. The Phoenicians were scoundrels and sold him bits of glass. My treasure was lost. Today my training would show to me at once the folly of entrusting a brickmaker to buy jewels. Therefore do I advise thee from the wisdom of my experience. Be not too confident of thine own wisdom in entrusting thy treasures to the possible pitfalls of investment. Better by far to consult the wisdom of those experienced in handling money for profit. Such advice is freely given for the asking, and may readily possess a value equal in gold to the sum thou considerest investing. In truth, such is its actual value, if it save thee from loss. This, then, is the forced cure for a lean purse, and of great importance if it prevents thy purse from being emptied once it has become well filled. Guard thy treasure from loss by investing only when thy principal is safe, where it may be reclaimed if desirable, and where thou wilt not fail to collect a fair rental. Consult with wise men. Secure the advice of those experienced in the profitable handling of gold. Let their wisdom protect thy treasure from unsafe investments. The fifth cure: make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. If a man setteth aside 9 parts of his earning upon which to live and enjoy life, and if any part of this 9 part he can turn into a profitable investment without detriment to his well-being, then so much faster will his treasure grow. So spoke Arcad to his class at the 5th lesson. All too many of our men of Babylon do raise their families in unseemly quarters. They do pay to exacting landlords liberal rentals for rooms, where their wives have not a spot to raise the blooms that gladden a woman's heart, and their children have no place to play their games except in the unclean alleys. No man's family can fully enjoy life unless they do have a plot of ground wherein the children can play in the clean earth, and where the wise may raise not only blossoms but good rich herbs to feed her family. To a man's heart it brings gladness to eat the figs from his own trees and the grapes of his own vines, to own his own domicile, and to have it a place he is proud to care for. put his confidence in his heart and greater effort behind all his endeavors. Therefore, do I recommend that every man own the roof that shelters him and his. Nor is it beyond the ability of any well-intentioned man to own his own home. Has not our great king so wisely extended the walls of Babylon that within them much land is now unused and may be purchased at sums most reasonable? Also, I say to you, my students, that the money lenders gladly consider the desires of men who seek homes and land for their families. Readily may thou borrow to pay the brickmaker and the builder for such commendable purposes, if thou can show a reasonable portion of the necessary sum which thou thyself has provided for the purpose. Then when the house be built, thou canst pay the money lender with the same regularity as thou didst pay the landlord, because each payment will reduce thy indebtedness to the money lender. A few years will satisfy his loan. Then will thy heart be glad, because thou wilt own in thy own right a valuable property, and thy only cost will be the king's taxes. Also willeth thy good wife go more often to the river to wash thy robes, that each time returning she may bring a guskin of water to pour upon the growing things. Thus come many blessings to the man who owneth his house, and greatly will it reduce his cost of living, making available more of his earnings for pleasure and the gratification of his desires. This, then, is the fifth cure for a lean purse: own thy own home. The sixth cure: insurance of a future income. The life of every man produces from his children to his old age. This is the path of life, and no man may deviate from it unless the gods call him permanently to the world beyond. Therefore do I say that it behoves a man to make preparation for a suitable income in the days to come, when he is no longer young, and to make preparations for his family should he be no longer with them to comfort and support them. This lesson shall instruct thee in providing a full purse when time has made thee less able to learn. So Arcad addressed his class upon the sixth day. The man who, because of his understanding of the laws of wealth, acquireth a growing surplus, should give thou to the future days. He should plan certain investments or provisions that may endure safely for many years, yet will be available when the time arrives, which he has so wisely anticipated. There are diverse ways by which a man may provide with safety for his future. He may provide a hiding place and thereby bury a secret treasure. Yet no matter with what skill it be hidden, it may nevertheless become the loot of thieves. For this reason, I recommend not this plan. A man may buy houses or lands for this purpose, if wisely chosen. As to their usefulness and value in the future, there are permanent in their value and their earnings, or their sale will provide well for his purpose. A man may loan a small sum to the moneylender and increase it at regular periods. The rental which the moneylender adds to this will largely add to its increase. I do know a saddle maker named Anson who explained to me not long ago that each week for 8 years he had deposited with his money lender 2 pieces of silver. The money lender had but recently given him an accounting over which he had greatly rejoiced. The total of his small deposits with their rentals at the customary rate of 1/4 of their value for each 4 years had now become 1,040 pieces of silver. I did gladly encourage him further by demonstrating to him with my knowledge of the numbers that in 12 years more, if he would keep his regular deposits at but 2 pieces of silver each week, the money lender would then owe him 4,000 pieces of silver, a worthy compensation for the rest of his life. Surely, when such a small payment made with regularity does produce such a profitable result, no man can afford not to ensure a treasure for his old age and the protection of his family, no matter how prosperous his business and his investments may be. I would that I might say more about this. In my mind rests a belief that someday wise thinking men will deserve a plan to ensure against death, whereby many men may pay in but a trifling sum regularly, the aggregate making a handsome sum for his family of each member who passeth to the beyond. This do I see as something desirable and which I could highly recommend. But today it is not possible because it must reach beyond the life of any man or any partnership to operate. It must be as stable as a king's throne. Some day do I feel that such a plan shall come to pass and be a great blessing to many men, because even the first small payment will make available a snug fortune for the family of a member should he pass on. But because we live in our own day and not in the days which are to come, must we take advantage of those means and ways of accomplishing our purposes. Therefore do I recommend it to all men that they, by wise and well thought out methods, do provide against a lean purse in their mature years. For a lean purse to a man no longer able to earn, or to a family without its head, is a sore tragedy. This, then, is the sixth cure for a lean purse. Provide in advance for the needs of thy growing age and the protection of thy family. So, obviously, a lot of financial advisors suggest having an emergency fund of up to 6 months, and they said a lot of people don't have this. That I think 60 or 80% of people are living paycheck to paycheck and have little to no emergency funds. So, some of the working class, or, people that are low to middle class, are sometimes working past retirement age because they haven't saved money for the future. The seventh cure: increase thy ability to earn. This day do I speak to thee, my students, of one of the most vital remedies for a lean purse. Yet I will talk not of gold, but of yourselves, of the men beneath the robes of many colors who do sit before me. I will talk to you of those things within the minds and lives of men which do work for or against their success. So did Arcad address his class upon the seventh day. Not long ago came to me a young man seeking to borrow. When I questioned him the cause of his necessity, he complained that his earnings were insufficient to pay his expenses. Thereupon I explained to him this being the case, he was a poor customer for the moneylender, as he possessed no surplus earning capacity to repay the loan. What you need, young man, I told him, is to earn many coins. What does thou to increase thy capacity to earn? All that I can do, he replied. 6 times within 2 moons have I approached my master to request my pay be increased, but without success. No man can go oftener than that. We may smile at his simplicity, yet he did possess one of the vital requirements to increase his earnings. Within him was a strong desire to earn more, a proper and commendable desire. Preceding accomplishment must be desire. Thy desire must be strong and definite, which, a strong desire is obviously something that's talked about in Think and Grow Rich, which is another book that I'm reading through and giving comments, so check back for some of those videos. General desires are but weak longings. For a man to wish to be rich is of little purpose. For a man to desire 5 pieces of gold is a tangible desire which he can press to fulfillment. After he has backed his desires for 5 pieces of gold with strength of purpose to secure it, next he can find similar ways to obtain 10 pieces, and then 20 pieces, and later 1,000 pieces. And behold, he has become wealthy. In learning to secure his one definite small desire, he has trained himself to secure a larger one. This is the process by which wealth is accumulated, first in small sums, then in larger ones as a man learns and becomes more capable. Desire must be simple and definite. They defeat their own purpose should they be too many, too confusing, or beyond a man's training to accomplish. As a man perfects himself in his calling, even so does his ability to earn increase. In those days when I was a humble scribe carving upon the clay for a few coppers each day, I observed that other workers did more than I and were paid more. Therefore did I determine that I would be exceeded by none. Nor did it take long for me to discover the reason for their greater success. More interest in my work, more concentration upon my task, more persistence in my effort, and behold, few men could carve more tablets in a day than I. With reasonable promptness, my increased skill was rewarded, nor was it necessary for me to go 6 times to my master to request recognition. The more of wisdom we know, the more we may earn. The man who seeks to learn more of his craft shall be richly rewarded. If he is an artisan, he may seek to learn the methods and the tools of those most skillful in the same line. If he laboreth at the law or at healing, he may consult and exchange knowledge with others of his calling. If he be a merchant, he may continuously seek better goods that he can purchase at lower prices. Always do the affairs of man change and improve, because keen-minded men seek greater skills that they may better serve them upon whose patronage they depend. Therefore, I urge all men to be in the front rank of progress and not to stand still, lest they be left behind. Many things come to make a man's life rich with gainful experiences. Such things as the following a man must do if he respects himself. He must pay his debts with all the promptness within his power, not purchasing that for which he is unable to pay. He must take care of his family, that they may think and speak well of him. He must make a will of record that, in case the gods call him, proper and honorable division of his property be accomplished. He must have compassion upon those who are injured and smitten by misfortune, and aid them within reasonable limits. He must do deeds of thoughtfulness to those dear to him. Thus, the seventh and last remedy for a lean purse is to cultivate thy own powers, to study and become wiser, to become more skillful, to so act as to represent thyself. Therefore shalt thou acquire confidence in thyself to achieve thy carefully considered desires. These then are the 7 cures for a lean purse, which, out of these experiences of a long and successful life, I do urge for all men who desire wealth. There is more gold in Babylon, my students, than thou dreamest of. There is an abundance for all. Go thou forth and practice these truths, and that thou mayest prosper and grow wealthy, as is thy right. Go thou forth and teach these truths, that every honorable subject of his majesty may also share liberally in the ample wealth of our beloved city. So that was the end of the 3rd chapter, and as we can see, the 7th cure might not necessarily be called personal development, but it definitely has an air of self-improvement and continued studying to improve your situation so that you can increase your income. So hopefully you found some value in this, and again, feel free to leave a comment on what you think, and if you liked the video, feel free to hit the like button and maybe share this video with someone you think might be helped by listening to this chapter. So have a good day.